Hi guys, a very short podcast lecture about importing photographs into your timeline and changing the duration. I had mentioned this during class during the Q&A, but I gave you the wrong tab, and so I wanted to correct the record here before you went down the wrong pathway. The essential knowledge is correct though. Premiere defaults to a 5-second duration for still photographs, assuming that you're working on a film in which people are going to want to see the photograph and you're going to want to do a Ken Burns effect through that photo. And I'll do a different podcast lecture about the Ken Burns effect. It's an amazing tool, works incredibly well, deeply engaging, purely cinematic, and lets us discover things in a film in a really great way. Different lecture. Today's is about stop motion and how to easily navigate the stop motion editing process. And so as I had mentioned earlier, for your stop motion films, you should try your very best to shoot them in order. And you should plan on a duration of, let's average 3 frames per image. So that's 10 shots per second in a 30 FPS film. So 30 frames per second, 10 shots will get you through 1 second if each individual image has a duration of 3 frames. And so how do we set that? So screen sharing now, we're going to go to Edit, Preferences, and General. So in our General Preferences, we have the ability in our Timeline tab, there's so much here that you can change, but in our Timeline tab, we have the ability to change our still image default duration. And this is the key for the stop motion movie. So right now it's at 5 seconds, but let's change that from seconds to frames. So it would be 150 frames as the default. And let's make this 3. Now, if I've already brought my stills into my bin and then I do this, it's no good because the stills have already been brought into the project as 5 seconds each. And you're going to have to manipulate each one down to 3 frames, which will take you days and days and days of work. So if you've done that, back out of it, delete that material, and start over again fresh. So you want to make your still image default duration. I say start at 3. Different filmmakers have different thoughts on this. I've noticed over the years that sometimes students will go to 4. And again, if you change your mind, if it's too choppy, not fluid enough, if it's going too fast, you would change this number. To change it, you've got to pull everything out and put it back in. So you've got to make this decision pretty early in your process. Go for 3, see if it looks right. Go for 4, see if that looks better. Go for 2, see if that looks better. You can, though, you could lasso everything and then go in and change that duration as well. That's another way to do that. So like with everything else with Premiere, there's multiple ways to make this work. So I change my still image default to 3 frames. I save that. And now when I go into import into my bin, now I can import all of the pictures in order and drag them over into my timeline and have essentially a good stop motion film that I'm ready to start color correcting, adding music, all of those other things. So that is the short podcast lecture about how to import stills into your timeline and how to make sure that they're the right duration so that you've got a stop motion film.